Okay, Rachel Shapiro, we're live, and now it looks like we've got Zen. Zen.
Hi there. Sorry about my delay. My computer's not uploading properly, so I had to open up another one.
We are live, Zen, because Rachel
Great.
Shapiro in Florida is on a tight schedule. She only has 20 minutes. She does not want to appear on camera. That's why we're looking at a blue head and shoulders.
Okay. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, Zen. How are you?
Oh, great, great. Sorry for my delay. It's great to connect with you. And are we going to be having Pam on today as well, Jack?
Pam said that she could not participate, but Zofia from GMO Free Philadelphia said that she would be here.
Okay.
And then as backup, there you can see Rachel. She's in
Hi,
the
Rachel.
car.
Hey, Zen.
Hi, good to see you. Awesome. So we're checking in with what's happening across the country right now, right? With GMO labeling and yeah, I'm Zen Honeycutt from Moms Across America, and Rachel, you're from GMO Free Florida. Is that it?
Yep, I'm from GMO Free Florida, and we're part of the coalition Citizens for GMO Labeling.
That's right. Yes, we are too. We're there in Massachusetts at a great meeting in this past summer, and I'm excited to connect with you. Can you tell me what's going on in Florida?
Well, in Florida, we are getting a lot of traction with the general public. We've done a lot of educating over the past couple of months, and we've been getting handwritten letters to our senators, all up until this point asking them to oppose the DARK Act. And now it does look like the DARK Act is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. And what they're trying to do, I was just in the Capitol yesterday, and they're really trying to sneak in some riders on the omnibus. And that's our next action. That's our main focus of action.
Can you explain what that means to our viewers right now? What sneak in some riders on the omnibus? This sounds very strange. What does that mean?
So our government is out of money again, and the spending, they have to come up with a new spending bill. Mm-hmm. And they basically call it the Appropriations Omnibus. And a rider, as you might think of a horseback rider, a rider is a piece of legislation that they will attach to this omnibus, this large piece of legislation. And when there are contentious issues or issues that some legislators want to handle without the general public's knowledge, it's often convenient for them to attach these riders to a larger piece of legislation and get it through that way.
And my understanding is this larger piece of legislation has nothing to do with the rider, what they're attaching it to. It's something completely different. And in fact, it's a strategy to get something passed which we don't necessarily want to have passed, like you're just saying, and because it's attached to a piece of legislation that sort of needs to be passed, otherwise the government will collapse. It's a very sneaky way of getting things done that the general public doesn't want done.
Yes, exactly. Now, one good thing is because the GMO issue is so contentious, and I have to say, the presence of members of our coalition in D.C. yesterday, I think really made a difference with some of our legislators. And I know it was the first time that I'd been to D.C. and I'd spoken face-to-face with members of staff from the various offices of our representatives. And it let them know that we're serious and that the public is out there and we are watching this issue like hawks.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we were able to let them know in some cases of the riders that were attempting to be attached, and we definitely, I asked for support and just to open the dialogue with the various representatives, and I think that it was really effective.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that the Citizens for GMO Labeling were there yesterday, and Pam and Diana were also hand delivering letters, right? I know Tanya Halling, I believe, was there, and Chrissy. There were a lot of different people there, right?
We had Chrissy from Michigan. Tanya wasn't able to make it.
Oh, okay.
And Pam and Diana were there. They came with me to Senator Marco Rubio's office.
Great.
And unfortunately, no one there had time to see us, but we were able to hand deliver some handwritten letters from Florida that we'd accumulated over the past month plus letters that GMO USA had received via the internet.
Okay.
So that was really great.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were there, Moms Across America, or Organic Consumers Association, Food Democracy Now!, and Truth in Labeling were there on World Food Day, and we had 39 appointments with senators. And
Wow.
so we divided up into 4 different groups. You know, each group had a leader, and we divided up, and so we met with about 7 different senators at least that day, and we printed up letters for every single senator. So every single senator got a packet of information from both Organic Consumers Association and Moms Across America. And I know the feeling, like what you're saying, that it makes a difference, right? When you look in their eyes and you tell them their story, your personal story, and you tell them why you want labeling, it's not scary, is it?
Yeah.
It's not scary. What was your experience? Tell us a little bit more about your experience with meeting with the senator, because you're not. A lot of people think, oh, scary, I'm meeting with the senators. You're usually not meeting with the senators. You're meeting with the senators' aides, right? So can you tell us a little bit about that?
I had a great time. It was my first time lobbying in DC, and I was just happy to be able to let them know that we're not being unreasonable. And my conversations pretty much focused on, we actually want the same things. We want especially with Senator Nelson's office, it was mentioned that he really wants a national standard, and felt great for me to be able to reassure his office that we want that too, and we want it to be simple, and we want it to be available to everybody, not just the few that can afford a smartphone. So one of the concerns, so what's happening now is, while citizens for GMO labeling and most of us involved in the labeling movement want clear on-package labeling of genetically modified foods, the industry on the other side are trying to get in QR codes or barcodes, QR codes being the most prevalent talk, so that people can scan while they're doing their shopping and get the information that way.
Yes.
And so I was able to address that directly with all of the representatives I spoke to, and pretty much all of them agreed that that was an unrealistic solution to the. Yeah, they did.
They were agreeing with you? Good.
They were, especially in the state of Florida, because we have a lot of rural areas that aren't covered well with connectivity, and we have a lot of elderly members who haven't got smartphones.
Right. Yes, they don't. I know my 90-year-old father doesn't, he doesn't even want to manage a flip phone, a cell phone, just for safety purposes, never mind get a smartphone. He is never going to do that, and that is, and it's not like he doesn't have mental capacity. He does. He just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to have to use a smartphone, right?
Yeah.
So, and he shouldn't have to, and the people who would rather spend their money on feeding their kids rather than buying a smartphone. It's expensive to own a smartphone. They should have the right to be able to do that. Yeah. So this is just so people know what QR codes we're talking about. That is the code that is talked about. That you have to actually download an app and scan it, and you can actually, if you scan this barcode says, it says to the politicians, we vote politicians out who do not protect us. You can actually play with QR codes to say what you want to say. So that's what this says.
I haven't even figured out how to work QR codes on my phone, and I've had a smartphone for about 5 years.
Right.
But I still can't figure out the silly things.
Yeah.
It
doesn't always work either. And the other side of it is that they could be collecting your personal information.
I'm sure they'd love to.
Yes, and as Jack pointed out earlier, they could also put a whole lot of propaganda on the other end of that. When they tell you that it's GMO, they're going to show you fields and kids eating, and we're feeding the world, and GMO is so great. So it could be used as a tool for GMO propaganda as well. And that's just another way to brainwash people that GMOs are safe and healthy, and that's not something that we want either, because it's going to be funded by the the Grocery Manufacturers Association, right? So we know what they're going to say about GMOs, that they're healthy and safe and fine and they're feeding the world. So that's another aspect to look at. But it looks like we have Zofia. Zofia joined us.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see your superhero costume, very fitting.
I know. I was just I put that picture in many years ago, and I've not actually changed it yet, and I realised I should have a picture of myself but I apologize that you actually can't see me, even though you may have got a glimpse of me. When Rachel was speaking, I was trying to figure out how to turn off the camera because even though it doesn't sound like it, I have woken up with a really terrible cold and sore throat, and I thought it was best that I wouldn't scare everyone with the way I look this afternoon.
Well, I'm sure you look beautiful, but it's good to have you with us anyway. And Zofia, we met at the the Citizens for GMO Labeling as well, and you're one of the major organizers, and you're definitely a superhero activist in my eyes.
Thank you.
So we're so glad to have you on the call. Can you tell us a little bit about what you see that's going on right now, and an update and what's happening? This is a very important time for labeling for our entire movement. Can you give us an update?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not sure what Rachel started with, but I know that she was talking about yesterday, and it was actually about 3 weeks ago that we, Citizens for GMO Labeling, held a briefing at the US Senate, and it was an informational meeting for Senate staff about what states are doing and the legislation that's been passed there and the standards that we've written into the language, which actually meet the highest standards globally, which is those of the EU. And it was such a successful day that it really kind of gave us that insight into how important it is that our voices are heard directly in DC. So we decided that we should go back down there, and we picked yesterday, which was really brilliant timing because things shifted pretty quickly. I'm not sure if Rachel mentioned that, but we got news of the fact that the Omnibus the decision making had really moved to the highest up, and that would be the congressional leadership and the White House. So that was an important moment, and also that a 2-year moratorium was being spoken about from the industry, wanting to slip that in to the Omnibus.
So has that been put into the Omnibus or not?
No, but the industry are panicking because they realize that we're winning and that we've been able to stop their efforts with the Dark Act. Right. And actually, we had a debrief at the end of the day yesterday, and Barbara from New Jersey was there, and she had met with Senator Booker and one of his senior staff, who actually said that, you know, the reason why this is happening and the reason why the Dark Act even surfaced was because of all the work that you're doing, and it is making a difference. And, you know, this would have gone through a long time ago had we not been working collectively like we have, and making sure that they can't keep us in the dark. So it was encouraging to hear that from Senator Booker's office. And so, you know, we are winning, and that's why the industry is panicking. So that's what they're pushing for right now. And unfortunately, we don't know how that's going to turn out. Hopefully it won't. And over the next few days, we've really just got to call leadership and say and state what we want. That I think that is actually a critical moment for us.
Yeah, we can't stress how important this is. I know. Sorry, this is a bit of an echo. I don't know, Jack, anything about that, but this is such an important time because they tend to push things through just before the holidays. And also, we want to have a heads up that the opposition tends to attack us just before the holidays. Every single Thanksgiving evening and Christmas evening, I've been attacked by, 100-something trolls online. So we have to keep our heads up that the trolls are going to come out, and that the senators are going to try to slip things in riders into bills and get it through the holidays when they think that we are most likely to be occupied with other things. And of course, it's also a crucial time for them with the federal budget. And this is just so great that you mentioned that it is making a difference, because so many of us tend to get resigned and doubtful that another phone call, another petition, another letter is not going to make a difference, but it is making a difference. Working together makes a big difference. And let's be honest, not everybody gets along in this entire cause, but when we put things aside and we go to meetings together, and when we send out emails for the campaigns that other groups are doing and post about it and share about it, when we do that, we are stronger. Whether we like each other or not, we are stronger, and we are making a difference, and it is happening. And I really believe, and many of us really believe now, we will win, and that the GMO labeling is only the first step in eliminating GMOs. And there's a lot of opposition with saying that we should be banning GMOs, not labeling. Let's be clear. This is the first step. Labeling is the first step in eliminating GMOs. So thank you for bringing up that working together is making a difference.
It is, and I'm pleased that you can see that as well. And I think the main factor in this is that we worked collectively. We need to work collectively, and that we are winning, because this is where we are, and they're trying everything, and because we are blocking them at every turn. So I think we need to just hold that in our hearts, and the next few days call leadership, because it is out of the Senate and House hands at this moment in time, in terms of what's going in the Omnibus.
Yeah, and there's a couple of different numbers you can call, but the one that I've memorized is 202-224-3121. And again, 202-224-3121. And you don't even have to know the name of your senator. All you do is call it, and you just need to know your state that you live in, and they will connect you, and you can say to your senator, we do not want voluntary labeling, we do not want QR codes, we do not want a delay in GMO labeling. We want GMO labeling now, clearly in writing on the package, so that we know what's in our food. That's really all you have to say. If you want to add in there that your kids got sick and now they're eating organic and they feel better, or you just want your 90-year-old father to be able to have the right to see what's on the package, or you don't have a smartphone, whatever it is, any other reasons why you want GMO labeling, please do that. Call 202-224-3121. And also write, you can just click, find your senator. You just Google that, and you will get their address and their email as well, and you can fax them. And if you do this every day, that's not too much.
Yeah, it's not too much, and it just takes a few minutes. It really does, and it makes a difference. And I think the more of us that, sorry, just one final thing, the more of us that go there and speak directly to our Senate and our House, I think the better, because there were lots of other groups there yesterday, with, advocating for their own issues. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be there.
Yes. Well, what I've heard is that there are 20 different lobbyists just for the chemical companies every month getting paid $20,000 each. That's not $20,000 each a month, per month, to lobby for the chemical companies.
While I was walking around speaking to my congresspeople, I ran into a young woman who was lobbying for gun laws, and she happened to be interning with one of the congressmen last summer. And she said she remembered all of the calls and the emails that the office got, and it made a huge difference in the choice that congressperson made. And I then spoke to his one of his assistants, his aides, and she said the same thing. She remembered all of the impact that all the calls had made, and that's why he had chosen to oppose the Dark Act.
Yeah.
So that was proof in hand that what we're doing is working. And there's definitely not too many calls and not too many ways to reach out. Another good phone number is 202-456-1111, and that's the Obama hotline.
Oh, yay. Great.
So let's call
him that he said he would label GMOs. Let's remind him.
2008 promise.
Yes.
Definitely.
Let's remind him. And, he doesn't have much to lose. He's going to be out of office soon. He might as well leave keeping his word and labeling GMOs, They can't just hassle him too much. He's on his way out anyway.
He just did an interview talking about how he wanted to leave a legacy of a healthy planet and something for his children and grandchildren.
Very.
And I think it was ABC News that he had done it with. It was over the weekend. Maybe it was Sunday evening.
Yeah.
So that's a great talking point to bring up with him about, well, this is something that he can really use to safeguard the future of his family.
I don't think there's nothing that's well, there's not many things that are as powerful as just holding people to their word. You said this, and I'm going to hold you to that, because that's how great that I see you are. I see you as great. I see you as your word. I see you as a person of honor. And, you know, if we keep doing that, I think we're going to bring out the greatness in people rather than just shaming or blaming or giving up on people and being resigned. You know what I mean? You said you would do this. Let's do it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really important that you bring up the shaming and blaming, because I'm new to this whole sphere of activism, especially lobbying in DC, and so I'm coming with a pretty fresh slate. I don't have a chip on my shoulder yet. And I think that really impacted the way that I was received in the offices, because I was just happy to be there. I just felt really fortunate to be part of the coalition, that I was with such great people, that I was in DC being able to speak my mind about something that's really important to me. And I have to say I received a really warm reception from everyone that I spoke to. And I think that makes a difference. I wasn't out there to be angry with them or to hold them, not hold them. I was there to hold them accountable for their actions, but not hold them up and say, well, you did something really bad by voting for the Dark Act. So my whole attitude was, let's just open a dialogue.
Yeah.
I represent a nonprofit organization from our state. That's the constituents of your state, and let's just talk.
Yep. They want to know that they're talking to their constituents that are going to vote for their senator or not, right? That's important to them, that they're hearing from people that will vote them out of office or put them back in office if they are, you know, representing the people in their state. So that's a really important place to come from. Is I'm a member of, you know, Citizens for GMO Labeling, or Moms Across America, or Organic Consumers Association, or Food Democracy Now, or whatever group you're a part of or affiliated with, it, you know, Institute for Responsible Technology, and we have whatever X amount of thousands of members in your state, and we feel collectively that, you know, labeled GMOs should be labeled on the package. You know, if you're coming from a place of representing thousands of constituents, that always helps. And also just being authentic with them, like you're saying, it's not a scary thing. You can go to see your senators and your senators' aides in your state next week. You can call up, make an appointment, or you could just show up. A lot of people, when we go to Sacramento, to the state capitol, and walk around to the offices, the senators' aides are there just answering the phones or typing or whatever. You walk in, you have a letter, or you just say, hey, can we talk to you for a few minutes about whatever subject? And most of the time, they sit down and talk with you. And they're college students, usually, or, you know, young, just fresh out of law school, and they're whip smart, right? And they're like sponges. They're just there to learn and to hear what you have to say and translate the information. And so they're definitely not scary. It is something that, you know, anybody and everybody can do. And it's very exciting to be a part of your government and the process. Like, you definitely are making a difference being there. So it's great that was your first time. It's a fun thing to do.
And it definitely re-inspired me in the democratic process.
Yeah.
Because I've been ready to leave America. I have a British passport. I can leave this country and go live somewhere else. And it's crossed my mind a lot recently because of all the issues we've been having, not just with our food, but a lot of our social issues. And being part of the democratic process really re-enrolled me in being an American citizen. And knowing that, yes, I may have to shout really loud, but my voice will get heard.
Yes.
And I can make a change. So it's you know, it's definitely valuable to believe that we still live in somewhat of a democracy.
Yeah, and I invite people who have been complaining about the government, who are angry about the government, who are sad or depressed or feel betrayed or upset about the government, to take this action on and to call your senator, or better yet, visit with your senator, not just for the process of the government, but for you, because you sleep better, right?
Yeah.
You feel better
Really
You
good.
are more confident, you are more involved when you take action and you do the right thing. If you can be proud of who you are in your role in this government, in this society, then you've done your part. And so I really invite everybody to set aside any fears that you have about not knowing enough or not being able to be articulate enough or just, I don't know, not having enough money or time or whatever. Just create that time. The money will come. You'll find a way, road trip, whatever. Get to your capital, see your senators, your representatives, and let them know how you feel about this. It is a very unique, and well, it shouldn't be unique. It should be a much more common experience, right? For everybody should be able to, and everybody can, get involved and talk to their senators and call and fax and email and be a part of this process, because it's your government too.
Yeah, we belong there. We belong there.
Yeah.
Not just the lobbyists.
Those are our halls and our offices. It was neat because when I was in the cafeteria my first time I went, I think it was 2 years ago now, it was around the time when I met with the EPA, which was on Rachel Carson's birthday, by the way, just serendipitously ended up being that same day. We went to the senators' offices, and we were in the cafeteria, and I was looking around, and it was sort of like being at a cool New York party where you don't know if the person next to you is a movie star or an up-and-coming filmmaker or a fashion designer, right? I was looking around the cafeteria, like, where's the Secretary of Ag, and where's the the head of the Help Committee, and who is that senator? Is that Bernie Sanders aide or whatever? You know what I mean? You're like looking around, sort of like who's who in this cafeteria, and then I realized the funny thing is it's not an exclusive party. Any American, anytime, can walk in those halls and walk in that cafeteria and walk in those offices and be a part of it. It's not exclusive. It's your right.
Yeah, and I think part of our power is, as you mentioned earlier, the authenticity. They're so used to hearing from lobbyists and people that are paid with a specific agenda that when they hear from a constituent and a real person, it's really refreshing, and I believe that they're definitely more open to hearing what we have to say.
Yes, I do too. I think moms and grassroots and people who are not paid lobbyists have a huge advantage, actually, because we are fresh and new. Yes.
Ladies, on that note, I am going to move on to my next appointment. But thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for having me as part of the coalition and for all the work that both of you are doing, and Jack also for GMO Free News. Yeah. It's changed my experience of being alive to be part of something bigger than myself.
Thank you for going to DC, Rachel.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Rachel.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Awesome. Anything else that you want to share, Zofia?
No, not really. Just that it was a really successful day. We all came together. We really felt like we were holding the torch for everyone there and passing on the message that we want on-package mandatory labeling and to say no to any rider or any 2-year moratorium. So we did that, and it's just now about keeping the pressure on and making those phone calls. They do make a difference. They're listening, and we are definitely winning. But obviously the Omnibus hasn't passed yet, so anything can happen. As you know, around the holiday season, they like to do things in the last minute. So let's just keep that pressure on until that Omnibus is passed.
And do we expect that to happen before the new year?
Yes, okay. It should be. I think sometime next week.
Okay.
Vote. So I think next week will be rather gripping, but we'll see.
All hands on deck.
Yes.
Every day, everybody, we're asking you to call and write, and if you can visit with your senator's office, please do every day. This is really, really important. If this thing, if number one, if it is delayed, that's just a whole other opportunity, another 2 years for them to squash it. First of all, right?
Yeah.
We do not want that. And if the QR code thing passes, then most of the senators are going to be like, well, then that's done. You've got labeling and it's QR codes, and they're not really going to pay much more attention to it, right?
Yeah, that's true. So, but I think for now it's the rider and the moratorium, and then next year the QR. If all goes well and nothing's put in the omnibus, then next year, 2016, it'll be about QR codes,
right,
code scanning technology. So.
And can I just ask, what is their reasoning? What are they saying as their reasoning for delaying the GMO label? What rationality are they using for that? For something that passed a democratic process with a practically unanimous vote? What are they saying as the reasoning for that?
I actually haven't discussed that yet. So, I mean, that's a conversation that needs to be had today. I've just been so under the weather and not feeling very good. But, I mean, I haven't put, much thought to it today. But they would have come up with some ridiculous reason. And
doesn't even matter, I guess, right? They're just trying to delay it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's no reason for a delay with GMO labeling. We all know that we should have known about GMOs that were being put in our food back in 1996, and it's absolutely unconscionable that if we can know what salt and sugar is in our food, that we need to know that GMOs are in our food and have that option. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they want the 2-year delay so that Vermont is blocked, and then they can introduce a federal law that's just has no teeth to it. It's probably voluntary. Smart label.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't know is that Vermont legally passed the GMO labeling, and the judge did not overturn it, and the labels need to be printed starting in about January, is my understanding, for the summer shipments. They have shipments in time, so they need to get the labeling printed, and if they don't stop this, then those labels, the genetically modified foods, will need to be labeled. Anything that's being shipped to Vermont, which is most of the food around the country, Vermont orders food just like anybody else does.
Yeah.
So that will be an issue for all food manufacturers.
And it's the beginning of the end for them. I personally believe that the end is already happening. We just haven't caught up to it yet. But if labels in Vermont, they won't be able to stop the wave in the way that they have been trying to up to this point. So it's that's why they're panicking right now.
Yeah, they are, but we're winning anyway because we're coming from what's right, that we have knowledge and power and integrity in our food supply. And we're coming from the love that we have for our families and children and ourselves and our government and our country to be a country that has integrity and responsibility. I mean, it only makes sense. Most other countries around the world label or ban, and we're not worth any less than any other citizens from any other country. We have the right to know what's in our food. We have the right to health. We have the right to freedom. We have the right to choice. And
everyone has that right.
Everyone has that right. And it's fantastic that people from all different states and countries and everything are supporting this movement. And we just want to say thank you, right, to all the different. I mean, it's amazing. There's people from Bulgaria, from China, from New Zealand, Australia, that I hear from on a weekly basis, Hawaii, from all across the world, that are in support now of labeling and eliminating GMOs and eliminating toxic chemicals from our food, and being able to have a choice and be healthy.
That is amazing. That really is, to have that energetic support. I mean, they're clearly not here with us, but energetically they are, and that counts just as much.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being on. Thanks for taking the time, even though you don't feel well. And thank you for that super inspiring superhero costume.
I've got to change that.
I love it. It's perfect. That's exactly, it's like we need to let out the light that is inside all of us, right? We can all do anything that we set our minds to. We're all amazing. We are all articulate in our own way. We're all passionate in our own way, and we can do whatever it is we set our mind to. And you gave us that perfect little icon to remind us that, and of what happens when we all come together, right? It's just
I think that's originally why I chose it. So
it's time.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Zen, and thanks, Jack.
Take care. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Zofia. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.